Hey everyone, welcome to another Deck Tech. Today, Temur Nimble Delver, playing around with Nimble Mongoose and a Temur Delver shell in Modern. Always fun, always fun. You know I'm a Delver player, and I'll be playing, or I'll be deck teching and featuring some Delver decks in the coming weeks. So stay tuned for more, of course. But today I want to play around with more one drops. I want to make myself even weaker to Chalice of the Void on one. So why not? Why not go all the way? Before we get into the list, of course, if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button down below. You know, just because my videos are, suggested for you doesn't mean that you're actually subscribed, but a subscription would really go a long way in supporting the channel, so thank you for that. Okay, so what does my list look like now before you start, rage commenting on this on this video? I'm not playing with Thought Scour. Obviously, Thought Scour would help me power up my Nimble Mongooses more quickly, but Nimble Mongoose at its best is still going to be a 3/3, so it's not like I necessarily need to get to that threshold as quickly as possible. I am going to get to that threshold just by playing the deck. That was the plan, so that's why I'm not playing Thought Scour. I really didn't want to resort to playing Thought Scour again, because it's really a suboptimal card. So that's just the first FYI. The list itself, though, is pretty standard. In terms of the type of Temur Delver deck you're used to seeing nowadays. Delver of Secrets, playing with 4 of those, and a Mongoose. I'm playing only 2 Ragavans. In theory, you could play more and maybe cut Mishra's Bauble. That's a possibility. I didn't play with DRC, although I do see myself revisiting this list and playing Dragon's Rich Channeler as well in some number. But this is really the list that I ended up with after playing quite a few matches. And yeah, it worked relatively well. The actual instant and sorcery package is nothing crazy here. It's what you've seen in my previous Delver lists, and just played really well. I don't even really have a lot of synergies to talk about because I don't want to necessarily repeat myself over and over again. You know how this works. A pretty good counter package, pretty good draw package, a pretty decent removal package compared to other Temur Delver lists I played. And it's just really all about playing the tempo strategy here, playing with really efficient creatures and hopefully overbearing your opponent as quickly as possible. So let's take a quick look at Nimble Mongoose, because I don't think this is a creature that a lot of you have seen before. Maybe you only seen it a few times, so you might not remember what it even does. For 1 green, it's a 1/1. It has Shroud and it has Threshold. So Shroud is great. Creature can be the target of spells or abilities. That's anyone, so you can't target it either, but that's not really a problem in this deck. It also has Threshold, so Nimble Mongoose gets +2/+2 as long as there are 7 or more cards in your graveyard, so essentially becomes a 3/3. So in the early game, if there are no cards across from you, if there are no creatures across from you, it's going to be pinging your opponent for 1, which is not bad. Worst case, it's going to stick around because your opponent can't really get rid of it through most removal spells available to them in Modern. Once you start interacting more with your opponent, which is what you're supposed to be doing anyway in Temur Delver, your graveyard will eventually fill up, and this will eventually become a 3/3, at which point it can start attacking in more effectively, or be able to take out creatures and other aggressive decks, and that's really what you want to be doing with Nimble Mongoose. And your opponent might really, what normally happens, what I normally have seen, is that your opponent will start laser focusing on Nimble Mongoose, because now they realize, oh man, it has Shroud, I can't even target it, so I need to figure out some other way to get rid of it, and they might overvalue it, when in reality you also have Tarmogoyf, if you have Ragavan, you have Temur Delver. You have Delver of Secrets, and those are all threats in and of themselves. So this is where Nimble Mongoose almost acts kind of like a lightning rod for attention, even though it doesn't necessarily act as a lightning rod for removal. And it just really works well. It goes well with your Protect the Queen strategy, although you don't have to waste too many resources on protecting it. You could spend more of your resources on clearing the way for it, so it could just, plow through your opponent's defenses essentially, or lack thereof, and slowly kill them, while you also build up your attack squad of Goyf, Ragavan, or a Flip Delver. And that's really why we're playing it here, and it's really cheap for what it does. For 1 mana you can get a 3/3 with Shroud. That's a pretty good rate, and that's Nimble Mongoose. So off to the matchups. Before I get into them though, just keep in mind there are going to be 3 matches going up today, kind of showing off Nimble Mongoose gameplay, so stay tuned for that. So when it comes to combo, pretty even, generally speaking, with this list. You have a pretty good permission package. You could go a bit heavier if you really wanted to, but generally speaking, you're pretty good. You don't have big creatures like Murktide Murktide Regent to kind of like deal heavy damage mid to late game. But you don't really want to get to mid to late game of combo anyway, or you might not make it mid to late game of combo. So generally speaking, it's even. Mid range also pretty even. You guys, you could play the attrition game pretty well mid range with this list. Same with aggro. You have a lot of creatures. A 3/3 is still something that might be annoying to a lot of aggro decks. Control also relatively even, at least in a lot of my testing, especially with Veil of Summer in the side, Force of Negation in the main, Counterspell in the main. You can bug them tit for tat, and again, them wasting like a Path to Exile or something on a Nimble Mongoose, oh well, it's okay. You'll just play another one, and you'll finish them off with a 3/3 anyway. Tron, as usual, you're almost always favored with Temur Delver, and Borderline Magic is really where I had a lot more trouble. I think it's probably because of Nimble Mongoose, and some of just some of the inconsistencies that it might produce, instead of playing a bigger creature or just playing more spells. I found myself struggling a bit more with dredge decks or the mill decks, but not too much, but I want to be fair when I'm doing the matchup analysis, so I would say it's unfavored overall. And that's it for Temur Mongoose Delver. And there are a lot of different Mongoose decks Mongoose lists out there playing the Temur Delver shell. This is mine. Stay tuned for the gameplay. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you enjoy my content in general, please subscribe and hit that notification bell down below. Those few clicks go a really long way in helping others find my content and helps my channel grow. Follow me on Twitter and Facebook, share my content on social media. That also helps others find their way to my videos and spreads the word even further. And of course, if you like making money, check out my Patreon page. The link is in the description of this video. In particular, check out the Patreon rewards program. Basically works like this. You give me your Patreon dollars every month. I buy and open up sealed product on this channel using those dollars, and I send you back that money at the end of every year in the form of rares and mythics. You get one non-bulk rare or mythic for every consecutive month you've been a patron, and every card is worth anywhere between $3 and $15. But I mean, even if you lowball it at an average of $5 per card, you're at the very least getting your money back, but odds are you're getting even more. There are a lot more details on my Patreon page, so check it out. Thanks, and have a good one.